Welcome. Oh, people can actually see my pajama pants. I have to scoot closer to the table. Hello and welcome to the 4th episode of Happy Jack's Hot Seats. My name is Kimmy, and I am here with Samantha.
Hello.
Hello. Also of Happy Jack's RPG podcast fame, cosplay fame, many, many fames.
I don't know about that. But
So we have your questions that you've sent in on the forum, and you can also chime in on the chat room. Remember, if you chime in on the chat room, please write question in caps so that I pay attention visually and answer your question. And yes, so let's get started. How are we doing on the sync tonight, everyone? Welcome. Thank you for being here. It's very exciting. And so why don't you start off by telling us kind of how you became part of the Happy Jacks conglomerate and how that all got started.
Cool story. It was through you, actually.
Me?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So I met you through cosplay.
Cosplay,
Of course. And you knew that I had a yearning to do some tabletop gaming.
Right.
And, first invited me to be on the podcast a couple of years ago on the Ladies of Gaming
right?
episode.
The infamous all ladies episode.
Yes. And then last year?
Was it
I
last
think
year?
it was
a while ago.
maybe 2. I don't know.
We're on the 20th episode of Vampire.
Yes. So however many
So,
episodes ago that
a year and a
was, you invited me to be part of the vampire game, and I was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, but okay.
But cool. I'm fine. I'm down
Yeah.
with that.
As long as you guys don't mind that I'm a noob.
It's totally fine.
Yeah.
And you did a great job. You totally jumped in and owned it amazingly. All right, turning up the sound thanks to feedback from the chat room, and awesome. And I don't really like what this thing is doing with my hair.
I was thinking
used
the
to do
same
it,
thing. I can't. What? We
It's
need to invent a microphone
That doesn't mess with
doesn't
our
mess
hair.
your hair. Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't either notice or care. Oh, they're saying the sound's much better. That's good.
Well, that's good. Doesn't fix
That's
my
hair issues.
hair quality
Yeah.
issues. Yeah.
Right there. All right.
Success.
Why don't you start off with so you met me through cosplay. So what is cosplay?
Cosplay is when adult nerds like to dress up as characters that we like because we're weirdos.
Totally crazy people.
Yeah. I've always had an affinity for costuming. I actually learned to sew decades ago. As a small kid, because my mom would have me help her make my Halloween costumes. And I kind of just never stopped doing that because it was real
Nice.
fun. So then as an adult, I learned that you could go to conventions and do that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that with all of my time. Yeah. So the first time I met you was in the steampunk DC group.
Right.
Yes. And you were Batgirl, and I was female steampunk Nightwing.
Yes.
Very niche.
Yeah. We were both in the Bat family. It worked out.
Yeah. It was good.
That was very fun. That was my first big group. And that was
Mine
pretty
too.
epic. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah, and you did an amazing job. And I love that you learned to sew and craft and stuff as a kid, because that's how I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Sewing Barbie clothes with my grandmother and my mom for Halloween and stuff.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of cosplayers learn as adults
Yeah.
for the interest. So
Yeah, it was nice coming in with already a lot of sewing knowledge, so then I could kind of start at a different it wasn't as steep of a learning curve as a lot of cosplayers have when they're coming in as adults.
yeah. So yay for starting early.
Yay! Yes, most definitely.
Yeah. And one of the unique things about your experience, and you're much braver than I am, to be honest. As a gamer, you started off your very first game doing an actual play podcast where everybody was listening.
Oh, yeah. It was a little bit easier when we were just doing the audio podcast, because then I could kind of put out of my mind that people were listening. We didn't have we do have listeners that listen as we play, but when you're doing a video podcast, you're much more aware of it. So it was a little bit I could just kind of ignore that part and just play the game.
Right.
And since I already knew you and Stu and Stork and everybody they are so welcoming and like it's so easy to play with as a new character. They never made me feel like my questions were dumb or I had to know everything. So I was just like felt very at ease playing with you guys anyway. And I think that was a little different than previous experiences I've had trying to join games.
Yeah.
So that was, jump right in.
Different, yeah.
If there's people that are supporting you and being super welcoming, then it's a lot easier.
Yeah. Now, it would be impossible to kind of to talk about your first gaming experience without bringing up the parallels between you and your character. So will you tell us a little bit about your amazing Toreador in our vampire game, who was your first RPG character ever?
Yes.
And kind of how that parallels with who you are and in what ways she's, other than being like a monster and eating people, that she's different.
She's definitely a little more aggro than me in that way. I decided that, with Vampire, it's set in modern already. That was like an easier like inroad as a first-time player. It's like, okay, I know this world sort of more. Like I don't have to learn, what the environment is or whatever. So I wanted to make a character that was not me, but me. So I wouldn't have to worry so much about like focusing super hard on developing the character and learning the system at the same time.
Right.
So I made a Toreador, which if vampires were real, I would definitely be a Toreador. That's just a given. And I made her a fashion designer because I figured that draws on my experience because that's what I do in real life. She has definitely a more high fashion end of that, and where I make nerd fashion for a living. So it's a little bit different.
Still
but
epic, like epic nerd fashion.
You. Yeah, I do my best.
Yes.
But I wanted to make her something that I didn't have to like think about so hard. Then that way, since I didn't know the system very well, I could focus more on like learning how to play and how to do combat and different skills and whatnot. So I didn't want to hamper myself with a lot of complication. So personality-wise, she is maybe a Mean Girls version of me.
I can see that.
So the sarcasm is there. Yeah. I'm not quite as snarky or judgy as Riley is, but
we all have a little bit of that in
but
us.
It's fun to like take those little aspects of my personality and play them up
big time.
Like just magnify them as would happen if you were a vampire and could do whatever you wanted
for hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah, exactly. So I just made her kind of a more exaggerated version of me, so it would be easy to role play and I wouldn't feel intimidated to try and act.
Right. Which is a really good call and something we've talked about on the podcast before. Like, is it better? And some people find it easier to play a character that's completely different from themselves.
Right.
And then some people find it better to find one that's a little bit closer to home and like that they just change a few aspects of the personality.
Yeah. And that was a good decision on my part. I didn't know going into it whether that would be a helpful or hindrance, but it ended up being really helpful because I really enjoyed the character. It's enough like me that I don't have to think too hard, but I also can expand a little bit and be a little bit more ridiculous. And I'm not a great actor, so I don't have to worry about it.
Why don't you recap for us what games you're playing in right now?
Okay, so I'm playing in the vampire game, of course, as Riley, the Toreador fashion designer, master of snark. Our Star Wars game, Edge of the Empire.
Yay!
As my protocol droid turned smuggler.
Yeah. Spoilers, that game is coming to an end soon.
Yes, spoilers.
Yeah. So, but that's not really a spoiler because it doesn't really involve the storyline.
No.
But
although the storyline will have to end for it to end.
It will. I'm wondering how that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
Very abruptly.
I think we're going to explode.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're going to die.
Yeah. It's a good ending there. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So sadly, that will come to an end shortly. But I'm also playing in Stu's Moment of Truth system.
Yeah.
As Ella Worthingstone of the Chesterfield Worthingstones. And I didn't intend to start out playing Pokemon Go inside of his game, but I figured out that that's what I'm doing.
Pretty much.
Which is funny because I don't even play Pokemon Go in real life.
Yeah.
But yeah, my never-ending quest to catch all the animals in the universe.
Gotta catch them all. Even if they're deadly and sparkle.
Especially if they're deadly and sparkly.
Sparkle, right.
Those are the best kind.
Best. Yeah, and you're in the last game when we played on Tuesday, your random your table for random animal name generation just like stole the show. It was amazing.
That's so fun. I love that stupid chart. It's so great.
It is, and it's hilarious. And I love that Stu's gonna like incorporate it into the system. So your random Jupiterian sparkle goat like has now added a whole new dimension to and a depth to his world that he never planned on, which is amazing.
So, fun fact, I made that chart out of laziness because I came up with the Jupiterian sparkle goat on the spot and the blue Ceresian burping lemur.
Yeah, those are both amazing, by the way.
Which were great. But then I was like, I don't know how long I can keep up this like stupid animal name thing. I'm gonna need something to like spur me along. I was like, oh, well, just make one of those like moon style charts where it's like take your first letter of your first name and your last letter of your last name and pick your attributes or whatever. So I just spent like an hour making a chart of 4 different types of things that you could randomly combine. And there's blank spots too. So sometimes you only get 3 attributes.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
It gives you more options.
Yeah.
And then that way I didn't have to think so hard and constantly come up with weird animal names.
So we have questions from the forum, which you can find at happyjacks.org. I haven't had that much wine yet. And so if you want to join a really cool community of gamers, find games to play, post questions for this ridiculous show, chat, argue about events that are happening in our actual plays, which is really what happens most of the time, then you can go there. And so the first question we have, what method do you use to take such incredible notes for the games you're in?
It's super high tech. I use a pen or pencil and paper.
You do. You really just sit there and write them all down.
Asshole answer, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's a total.
But no, true. Actually, I do. I have a different notebook for each game, and I just sit there and write the notes. I started doing it just to amuse myself and because I have a terrible memory. So I would just write the notes and like anything snarky that came into my head while I was writing them, or like draw little pictures of Albert's character as a wolf with a mustache on it. But then you guys liked it so much that I was like, I guess I gotta keep doing
this is a thing. This has become your job in all the games you play.
But it's really fun, and it's useful for me because like the first couple of games we played, I sort of took notes, but not really. And then I realized that from game to game, because we didn't play every week, I couldn't remember what happened the last time.
Right.
And just for me, I needed that, like actually writing it down, and I still forget. So sometimes when I read my own notes, I'm like, what am I talking about?
Right.
And then it's really funny. So while I do kind of want to get like a tablet or something for games, but I think I will probably still continue to just write my notes down, because in that way I can sketch little dumb pictures and stuff, and it's really fun.
Yeah, and I would love at some point to get pictures of your notes because it is really amazing. Like you do your little pictures and amazing. You should totally Instagram shots of it because it's really,
I totally
really interesting.
And I like to theme my notebooks to the game. So, like our vampire game, the notebook I have is from Diablo. It's got a picture of Tyrael on it, and I was like, it's funny to have a vampire game and a holy notebook. And then our Moment of Truth game is all like undersea. It has like a weird undersea futuristic looking drawing on it. And I was like, oh, this is perfect for our like space adventure game. Yeah,
it totally is. And that's another way you just jumped in. Like I was really impressed by. It's hard enough to be like first-time gamer in an actual play podcast with a lot of listeners, then cut to like now videoing, and then you suddenly immediately became like the official note taker of every game you're in. Like you took like to the RPG hobby, like jumping in the deep end. You're like, oh sure, I'll be in one game. That's great. And now you're in 4.
I'm in 3 of the games. On the podcast sometimes, and on like the official note taker. I feel useful that way. I'm helping. You're helping. I'm helping.
And okay, so we're back. So we talked about that you were a virgin RPG player when you came to Happy Jacks, which is really unique, actually.
Not completely. One of the chat room listeners asked I forget the question, but that I was new to RPGs in general.
Mm-hmm.
So the Vampire campaign was the first one that I've played sustaining wise. At my old job when I worked at Jinx, we would have game nights, and I played a few like one-off nights, and we tried to start a 4th edition D&D campaign, but
nice.
that kind of fizzled. And so
That
prior
happened to
to
a lot
gaming
of
with
4th
you
edition.
guys, I had started a couple of campaigns with other groups of gamers, but for some reason they just never worked out.
Yeah.
So I had tried, but really I got my foot in the door, but really hadn't like got to actually get into a game and play in like an ongoing way.
Yeah.
So when I started playing with you guys, I was like, oh, this is great. This is exactly what I've been looking for.
Excellent.
So it was awesome.
Perfect. And I always love like bringing in more women to Happy Jocks because we're already like so outnumbered. Although we're actually starting to not be outnumbered. In every game
That's
we
true.
play, there's at least I think 2 women in every game. So it's very exciting.
And I think there's more female players now in our Moment of Truth game than male players. So
that's true.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So I wasn't coming completely blind. I had a little bit of like understanding of how to make a character, how like the mechanics of games worked, a little bit, obviously not knowing the vampire system itself. And I've always been a big video game player.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of a head start. I wasn't completely
right.
like,
For
what
sure.
do I do?
Right. And have you ever done like LARPing or any of that?
I had done one LARP before I started gaming with you guys, which was more awkward because I'm an awkward robot and not a good actor. But I still had fun, and I made a really dumb character, which was great. She was a barbarian from the Highlands who thought she was a mermaid.
Nice. Okay.
Which was really funny. But yeah, so limited experience in the RPG world, but lots of interest and
awesome.
Little teensy bit of experience.
Yeah. Do you mind talking about your professional work for a few minutes? Like,
oh, sure.
Yeah. So you said you'd worked at Jinx before. So what is some of the other stuff you've done?
Yes. So because I loved making costumes and making clothing growing up, I wanted to be either a fashion designer or a costume designer. So I've actually done both. I started out my career doing costume design for theaters on the East Coast, and a little bit of TV and like independent films when I moved out here to California. And then randomly saw a Craigslist ad for a company called Jinx that makes video game clothing that needed a fashion designer who was also a big nerd. And I was like, oh, that's me. I can do that. So I contacted them, and they needed somebody to kind of start a program of custom clothing. So they were just printing T-shirts and hats and like printables on demand. But they wanted to start making clothing that was like manufactured specifically for their brands and for their licenses, which include Blizzard. And so I got into doing that. And that's still what I do. I don't work for Jinx anymore. I worked there for several years building their custom clothing program. And then after that, I moved on to a company called Wheel of Fine. Did some freelance work for Blizzard and other companies. And then now I work for a company based out of the UK. And I work at home, which is awesome. Designing clothing for Star Wars and Marvel and DC. And some home goods. Star Trek is another, and Doctor Who, and Harry Potter. So basically any fandom that's huge, I design clothes for it, which is really awesome. So I get to combine kind of my love of nerdery in general
with all that stuff,
with my love of making clothing.
Yay! And I love the clothing that you make because I buy lots of it.
Listeners at home, if you shop at ThinkGeek or Hot Topic or Box Lunch, those are all retailers that carry stuff that I make, which is pretty fun.
Yeah. And okay, so back to some of the, I know I keep going off on tangents, but back to some of the questions on the forum. What was the triggering inspiration that got you into cosplay, and what was your very first cosplay?
Let's see. So one of the catalysts for getting me into doing cosplay and also fashion design in general was the movie The Fifth Element.
Okay.
So it's one of my favorite movies, all-time favorite movies. My only tattoo is a Fifth Element tattoo.
Nice.
And I just loved the costumes. I have a thing for space and futurism and robots, and so I kind of fell in love with that movie. And the first cosplay I ever made was Lulu Dallas.
Oh.
So the orange kind of stretchy bit with the white t-shirt and the orange hair. And that was my first cosplay, I guess. I didn't wear it to a convention because I didn't know conventions were a thing yet.
Right.
I was young.
I was young and foolish.
Young and foolish. And I think I wore it to like a Halloween party or something.
Okay. So... All right, so you're going to have to fix the sound on this entire episode. Okay.
Sound is a hot mess.
Hot mess. We're a hot mess with this episode.
Okay.
All right.
Woo.
Thank God. All right.
Cheers.
No touching. I'm not touching it. You're dealing with a bad sink and, like, screw it.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. What were we talking about?
Okay, I'm not touching anything.
You can touch the wine. That's it.
Static's on way behind the chat room. But yeah,
But don't touch. Yeah.
The chat room and the video will never match up, and that's the case in every stream, because there's a delay in where we record it. It goes to space and then comes back down to you in your home.
Yeah.
But the problem with the sync is that both the audio and the video are being recorded simultaneously, so that should not be off. So we expect we expect disparity between what happens in us in real life and your real life at your home, away from this place. And I need more wine.
More wine.
Yes, tomorrow's Friday, and I get to wear tennis shoes to work, so everything's good.
Good. Okay.
So
oh
my God,
what were we talking about?
Oh yes. So you were talking about. So you had just talked about your
cosplay.
Fifth Element cosplay.
Yes.
And how you wore a wig, even though you have like almost perfect hair anyway.
I did wear a wig because her hair is more like neon orange, and mine is more like I was born with it.
With red hair.
Orange. Yeah. So yes, I did wear a wig, and also because I didn't want to cut my hair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. And are you turning leather skull purses into an actual product, and they mentioned that they'd sell well?
No, actually, I did not come up with that idea. I'm not the originator of the leather skull purse idea.
No.
A blacksmith artist named Ugo Serrano makes very cool skull leather purses with a little flip top head.
Nice.
And I'll have to post it in the forum, but that is where I got the idea for making Christoph's skull into a purse.
Nice.
So no, I will not be monetizing that because it wasn't my idea.
Well, yeah. All right, and let's see. Next one. How did you acquire your pony? I mean, Fenris.
So Fenris is actually adopted. He is a rescue giant dire wolf.
Yay. Rescue dogs are the best.
Yes,
My wee dog is also a rescue dog.
I adopted him from the Baldwin Park shelter. They tried to tell me that he was 11 months old, and I was like, that is the biggest puppy I have ever seen.
Yeah.
I'll take it. But he had an eye issue. He had a birth defect that he needed eye surgery for, so he had to get a facelift shortly after I adopted him. And he actually turned out to be about 3 when I got him. So he had a couple of issues that wouldn't make him super adoptable, so I was happy that I rescued him.
And now he's like your perfect dog.
Yeah, and he is the perfect dog. He is mostly a bearskin rug and just likes to cuddle and keep you warm and get pet slot.
Excellent.
So he's my favorite.
Let's see. Being a dog mom is like the best, by the way.
Yeah, especially Fenris, because like everywhere I go, even when I just walk him, if people don't talk to me, I can see people like they look at Fenris and then they smile, and I'm like, yay.
If only our dogs didn't hate each other.
Yeah, I know. Fenris is getting better with other dogs. He did well with the puppy.
Yeah.
At last time,
Yeah.
he and Leica got in a little tussle over the puppy.
Yeah.
I think, but he does fine with Leica too. He's actually scared of dogs because most dogs don't like him because he's enormous. So they bark at him, and he's like, "Why are you being mean to me?" Yeah. So he gets bossed around a lot, even though he's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not either just Fenris's fault, too, because my dog's kind of a dick to other dogs. He likes Leica and Stu's dogs because he grew up with them, and the puppy, he hates the puppy. Like, he gets along with the puppy, but he comes home and he's just like, oh, God, Oh God, Mom, that dog. She followed me around. I walked in circles the whole time you were playing your game. I hate you. I'm going to take a nap forever. That is pretty much like his entire history. Maybe you prefer Fenris. Oh, no, ferrets. I love Fenris, but come on. Golden Lasso dog. Okay.
Everybody thinks their dog is the best dog.
Yeah. It's kind of like you're supposed to.
Yeah. But for listeners at home that are curious, Fenris is part Malamute and part Husky.
Yes.
So he is a mix of two awesome dogs to make one really awesome dog.
Yeah, two fluffy dogs to make a double fluffy dog.
Yes.
He has epic amounts
Extra
of hair. It's
fluff.
amazing. Yeah. And let's see. What's a piece of advice that all lady GMs of the world should follow?
That's a tough one because I have yet to GM my own game, so I kind of don't feel like I should be giving advice out. But I will tell you, I would say to follow the example of our GM, Stu, because he is very much a yes and GM. He lets us come up with all kinds of weird and crazy shit and do shenanigans like ghouling dolphins and turning people's skulls into purses, and that just makes for really fun gameplay. So my advice would be to make room for your characters or your players to come up with really random and dumb ideas.
Crazy stuff.
Because it makes the game more fun for us. And is very welcoming to players that are new and don't really know the system super well, so we can do things that amuse us.
It's funny. Yeah, those dolphins, man. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's see. Other questions. All right, so this is. They want you to draw more stuff and share it. So you should put that on your Instagram. Like taking pictures of your notes.
Yeah, I will start adding my notes drawings to the Instagram.
Yes. Okay, so these are kind of like quick questions. Tom's like posting like rapid fire questions. Okay. So just like go with your gut. Go with whatever comes to your mind first.
Got it.
So the favorite game you've played in the last year and why?
Sparkle Goats.
Okay.
Because I accidentally derailed that game by playing Pokemon Go in it, and it turned out to be really fun.
Yeah, you totally did. Good. You haven't GM'd, so you usually post that question, so I'm going to skip that one.
Okay.
What is a game you'd like to play in the next year?
That's a good question. Oh, I don't even know.
You don't even know.
I don't even know. I'd like to play something in the Lovecraftian universe.
Okay.
That would be fun.
Yeah. You should totally play Call of Cthulhu. That'd be fun.
Yeah, because I love Lovecraft. I've read most of his work. I actually had to stop reading it before bed, though, because it was giving me really weird dreams.
Oh, yeah.
But usually when I read is like before I go to sleep, so now I have to read Lovecraft during the day. Yeah. But I think that is a universe that I would like to play a game in. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Let's see. If you don't currently run games, why not? And when you start, inevitably, with what system would you start?
I think I would probably want to run a vampire game. I think I was lucky in that was kind of the first long-running campaign that I've gotten to be in. But I feel like that game suits me gameplay-wise.
Right.
And I kind of just really get into it. So I think that would probably be where I'd want to start for GMing.
Cool. Absolutely. We'll get you there. It'll be great.
Someday.
Awesome. And so there's also another question that I usually ask, and I usually wait till a little later, but we're getting into the flow of it now. So if you could change, like Stu decides to move to Antarctica because he's really tired of people and decides he never wants to do any of this again, and you are chosen to continue the Happy Jacks RPG podcast.
Oh God, no pressure.
What would you change and why? What's one thing you would change and why?
Oh, that is a good question. I don't know. The podcast is pretty great as it is. Let's see. We have delicious snacks, great company, regular gameplay. That's a really tough one.
It is. It's a challenging question. Think about it, and we can come back to that.
Yeah, ask me a different question. I'll think about that one in the background. Background processes are on that question.
So you said you like the space genre and things like that. Like, why do you think you're drawn to that particularly?
I don't know. I think I've always been drawn to robots and droids. My
Redpandroid.
Redpandroid, and my cosplay that I'm most well known for is R222. So I think that has to do with my antisocialness, which is part of why I loved video games so much. Is, you know, I don't know, great with people. But I have become better with people since playing RPGs.
Yes.
It's helped make me more social, which is very nice. But I just love space, the idea of exploration. I was always a big Star Trek Next Generation fan, so the Final Frontier, exploring the universe, finding new and weird animals to capture.
Right.
Like, I just... adventure, man.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That kind of adventure has always appealed to me. I like medieval fantasy kind of stuff too, but futuristic space stuff is kind of where it's at for me. I like spacesuits. Outfits are great.
Designing. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. You do an excellent job of all that too. So
Thank you.
that's cool. What do you think is one of the biggest challenges with developing a character as a new player? And all these like different, because we play like a bunch of really very different genres right now.
Yeah, I'd say the most difficult thing is finding a balance between creating a character that's going to be good, interesting for you to play, and not too complicated to hamper you while you're learning the system.
Okay.
Because like I've tried before in some of my attempts that fizzled to play campaigns before, tried to make D&D characters. Like, I always found like mage characters kind of the magic system a little bit too complicated for somebody that's first starting out. Like, there's like, you have to learn how to acquire all these spells and how to use them and like how to manage that in addition to your armor and developing your character and all of that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it was a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
So playing vampire really simplified it down for me.
Yeah.
Because there's not the talents and the abilities are really cool. Especially, I really like the ones that I have for Toreador.
Right.
It's not too like into the fray battle, but it's also not too like magical or complicated. So it was a wise choice, unintentional wise choice,
right.
on my part to choose something that was a little bit simpler and that lent itself to kind of my personality.
Right.
So I think that's probably
the
hardest thing for players.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And if you're going to give advice to someone who is like, okay, I'm going to start playing my first RPG tomorrow, like, what would your advice be to them? Assuming they're going to play with an awesome group like our group.
Yes, assuming they're going to play an awesome group with an awesome group, I would say don't be afraid to dive in and play the type of character you want to play. But beware of trying to do everything at once.
Right.
Like, try and, give yourself a little bit of an easier road in. You don't have to, like, come in and make some crazy character that's totally out of the box and super complicated. You can have a simple character that's just like, I'm a music guy, so I'm gonna be a bard. Like, that's my thing. It can be you, but a little bit different, so you don't have to worry about trying to like act and learn the system and figure out your talents and just everything at once.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. And I had another question that I thought of, and now I don't remember what it was. Darn it! I need more wine. Give me a moment.
More wine. I feel like hedonism bot. More wine.
More wine. Wine, please. Yeah, I completely lost that question. It's gone forever.
That's okay.
Yeah. Do we have chats from, or questions from the chat room? Since my brain just completely farted and I can't remember anything. How did the actual experience of playing an RPG match up to, like, what your mind thought an RPG would be?
Oh, like my expectation.
Yeah, or like
versus-
what you thought, like the kind of the stereotype, or hey, I've seen this on TV or whatever, or I've heard this from my friends, like compared to your actual experiences and your one shots, and then in your campaign.
Yeah. So our campaign for the vampire game was definitely much different than my impression of vampire.
Mm-hmm.
I'd actually been to a vampire LARP once before on the Queen Mary, the boat.
Okay.
I got invited with costume friends.
Yeah.
And they're like, just dress up like a vampire, come on the boat with us. Okay. So I went, and I didn't play. But observing it and observing the way people interacted with each other, it was very serious. It was like serious business.
Yes.
And so coming into our vampire game, and the type of player that apparently I am, which is a silly person.
Yeah.
I was really like pleasantly surprised. Well, not surprised because I knew you,
Yeah.
but pleasantly surprised coming into a group of experienced players. Playing vampire for the first time and having it be the silly ridiculous fest that our game is,
Right.
which is my favorite thing ever.
The Nosferatu stand-up comedian.
Yeah, exactly. Like Gould Dolphins, Nosferatu stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's great. But it was so different than the impression outside of it that
Right.
I had of Vampire the Masquerade in general.
Right.
So that was really fun. And just kind of how like casual and laid back and welcoming you guys were was a little bit different than some of the other experiences that I've had. I've had game sessions where I played with more experienced people that were a little bit elitist about their game experience and snarked on players that they didn't feel were serious enough,
Right.
or different things. So I was pretty sure, since you invited me, that it was not going to be like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is going to be fine. But going in, I was a little like, you guys are a lot more experienced at this than me. It's going to be all right, and it's fine.
And it was, and then we had cheese and wine.
And then there was cheese and wine. I was like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
This is great.
Well, really, our game set the standard for the rest of the Happy Jacks games, because like before, like we used to have snacks and stuff, and we'd have cheese occasionally, but like once we started getting like the spreads for Vampire, like all the other games were like, well, we need food too.
We want cheese.
Yeah, we want cheese platters too, not just popcorn. Sam,
Question.
do you play an instrument? It's a question from the chat room.
Not currently. I used to play piano when I was a kid.
You probably still could sort of.
I still can sort of play. I can still remember how to play one song, which is Fenris by Beethoven.
Nice.
That's the only song I can play from memory still. But I have a keyboard and I keep meaning to set it back up and start playing again because I really want to get better at it.
Yeah.
But I used to be pretty good and like would write my own music for my recitals and stuff. But for some reason, as a teenager, I just stopped playing.
Yeah.
Because you become too cool for school.
Yeah, I did that too, and I kicked myself because then I tried to be in like bands years later. I was like, oh yeah, this is why they tell you to learn things when you're young and it's easy.
Yep. Yeah. So I love to play the piano, but I don't always have time, and so it's like my I'm gonna get back into drawing. Someday I will get back into playing piano. Probably when I have an actual piano at home.
Yeah. Well, we have a piano. You can hang out over here and play piano for us. You're like,
I'll bring you some earplugs.
Awesome. So like, what other like random things do you think kind of contribute to your like nerddom in general? Like you do clothing design, you've done LARPs before. Like I know the answer to this question, but I want the audience to like find out from you. Like what other things do you do, like Wasteland Weekend, and things like that, that might be like sort of in like the cosplay or gaming or LARPing / Burning Man world, but
yeah, it's pretty much all of those.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned before, I play a lot of video games. Right now I'm playing a crap ton of Fallout 4. What I did for Thanksgiving was lay in my bed and play Fallout 4 all day. It was awesome.
Yeah. We offered her turkey, by the way. Like she could have come here, but she's
I was like, that's really sweet of you, but I have plans in my pajamas to play Fallout. So that's what I did. But yeah, so if I'm not staying home playing video games, playing games with you guys, designing nerd clothing, or I'm making costumes.
Yeah.
And I don't do as much cosplay anymore as I used to.
Yeah.
I still go to Comic-Con and like WonderCon and a few smaller conventions.
Mm-hmm.
But I got kind of burnt out on making a new cosplay for every convention.
Yeah.
Like, it gets to be a little too much.
Yeah.
So now I make like maybe one for Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
And then right now I'm really into making kind of original costumes for, there's two things. Labyrinth of Jareth Masquerade, which is a masquerade ball in LA.
Yes.
It's really awesome.
The best. So good.
Happens once a year in the end of summer.
Yeah.
Now it's in August. And it's 2 nights, and it's just a big creative costume fest, and people make super elaborate, crazy light up things.
Insane things.
And there's dance performances and acrobats and music, and it's really awesome.
Yeah.
So I attend that every year, and I usually try to make one new costume each year, and then wear my previous year's costume one night, and then the new one the other night.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
So this year I wore my R222 version 2.0.
Yes. Which had sound in it, by the way. It's amazing.
Yeah, it has a little sound chip in the tutu that I can press a button and it does R2 beeps and stuff.
Nice.
And I actually I started taking ballet while I was building the costume.
Nice.
So I could be on point.
You were very dedicated to this.
I was and I still, it turns out ballet is like super my thing. So, so now I'm continuing to do it, and I'm taking it 3 days a week now, and on point 2 days a week.
That's amazing.
Because I want to do like a proper photo shoot and have like a nice arabesque and whatnot.
Nice.
So apparently I'm a ballet nerd. Who knew?
Yay!
Yay! But so that's kind of one of my big passions, and then the other one is Wasteland Weekend. Which falls on my birthday every weekend, every year pretty much. So it's Birthday Apocalypse.
Yes.
And it's a long weekend in the desert outside of LA, a few hours, a camping weekend, and it's Mad Max themed, or generally post-apocalyptic. People do like Fallout inspired stuff. There used to be some Borderlands cosplay, but they've since kind of nixed that 'cause it's a little too cosplay.
Yeah.
But there's Mad Max inspired stuff. There's Waterworld inspired stuff.
Okay.
And people get crazy creative with it. There's
Yeah.
a car show, and people deck out their full vehicles. And there's this year was the first year that I got to be in the car parade. And so anybody that brings a Wasteland vehicle can be in the car parade, and people from your tribe can kind of like hang out the windows, and like it's just it looks like Road Warrior the movie. It's great. And there's a central town that's called Bartertown, and you have to be like completely themed out to camp in there. You have to apply.
Yeah.
It's
nice.
pretty intense. And people do like activities for their camps. So if they have official tribes, you can like go and they'll have like a quest you can do, or they have interactive stuff you can do in camp, which is really neat.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's really creative and it's really fun. My tribe is, I think we had 30 people this year.
Oh, wow.
We have a lot of people, called Tribe Never Was. And this coming year we're going to be doing kind of like a defunct amusement park theme.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
It was sort of vaguely Alice in Wonderland themed the first year that we all went together. And each person got, our blacksmith, we have a blacksmith, made us playing cards out of metal that have the card kind of decals cut out, and so each person got a card, and mine is the Queen of Hearts because that's my character.
Oh, yay.
But she's like Queen of Hearts if Elizabeth Bathory lived in the post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Right.
So I have like a royal scepter that has an anatomical heart that glows mounted on it and stuff. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I love post-apocalyptic nerdery, and go out to the desert every year for a weekend and just live like it's the apocalypse.
Right. That sounds super fun, except for the whole out in the desert like it's apocalypse thing. Like I'd love to make the costume, not so into camping while I'm doing a costume. Like I love camping. That's like a separate. These things are separate from me.
It's less gross than you would think.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So like there's logistical things like the tribe. If you get together as a tribe, you can rent private porta potties.
Oh, okay.
So you have your own bathroom as a tribe. Then you're not sharing with the thousands of people that come to the event. It's super gross. They get gross.
That was like our great thing at Rogues Reef, like our private porta potty backstage for the performers, and we were just like, there was a lock on it, and we kept it quiet and like hide it. Nobody gets to use it unless they're like a performer at fair and they know us, because that is really like worth.
It makes a huge difference. So we get two, and then every year somebody in the tribe makes a different keychain. So this year it was we have some sculptors, and they cast a severed finger.
Nice.
was our keychain.
Excellent. All of the jewelry that you made for us for Vampire.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
So I actually rewore that necklace, my finger bone necklace, to Wasteland because it goes perfectly with my outfit.
Nice.
Yeah.
I had mine in my purse from the game, and I was actually at work the next day getting stuff out of my purse, and it like hooked on my wallet while I was pulling it out. So like I'm in the middle of the office at school, and the secretary's just looking at me. She's like, "What is that?" I was like, "It's a bit of a costume." I'm just gonna put it calmly back in. Please don't notice it's a finger bone. Please don't notice it's finger bones. Please don't notice it's a finger bone.
See, and I would have been like, "It's a finger bone necklace."
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sort of easing them into the fact that I do costuming and stuff. And I'm already regretting it because Saturday we're doing like a sale on our uniforms, and our uniforms have patches. And now my principal's like, "Oh, you can come in on Saturday, right? And sew on all the patches for the kids." I'm like, no.
Nope.
That's not something that I can do. I did not get a master's degree to sew on the patches on our uniforms.
Not doing that.
That's not happening.
That's not what I'm here for.
Yeah.
No.
No, I run things. I run the school, and I don't sew patches for you.
Like I can delegate it to someone else to sew the patches.
That's harder than you think. There's the sewing thing. It's like
really?
Yeah.
Is that a thing people don't know anymore?
People don't do sewing.
That's super weird.
I know. Even just patch sewing, like hand sewing, you're just like.
It's like.
Yeah. Google that shit, guys. Come on.
It's real easy.
Yeah, YouTube it. That's how I learn most of my stuff for Cosplay. But yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
YouTube is a great resource.
Yes. Let's see. I think that might be all of our questions. African or European swallow?
I have to go with African.
Okay, that makes sense. I can see that. Excellent.
European swallows have probably never even seen a coconut.
No. No, definitely not. I think that's all our questions then, unless the chat room has anything else that they would like to chime in.
Oh, they're talking about SCA. I've done SCA events and Ren Fair as well.
Yeah. I've not done SCA. I've done Ren Fair, like, as everybody knows, I've done Ren Fair forever, always.
It's fun. It's like the part of Ren Fair where you hang out in costume with all your friends, but then you don't have like a job to do. It's great.
Don't you like have to be in character though? Like I've had friends who were part of like a court and stuff, and they even had to have like period like tents and stuff when they camped. Like they carried a giant wooden bed with like.
Oh yeah, like your
like,
encampment needs to be in like period accurate. But my friends that I went with, they did not stay like in a character, and they were former nobles, so they didn't have to be that. Like people would still like your highness to them or whatever, but we could have like normal conversation. They didn't have to like act the whole time.
Okay.
No, it was not like LARPing. You weren't assuming a character. It was more like. Yeah, visually everything is sort of historically accurate, or at least an attempt at. But
so Exploit in the chat room says, "Well, you're supposed to be, but some are just slack jocks."
Stick jocks.
Stick jocks.
Oh, fighty people. I did enjoy the rattan stick fighting. I didn't get as far into it as I would have liked. I still have my swords, but I have to find somebody to train me. So all my friends that fight down here use live steel, and I'm like, I don't have armor for that.
Yeah. Excellent. Maybe we should make that one of the prizes. For those of you who are in the chat room tonight, you can earn beers, which you saw a few minutes ago, and with those beers you can purchase rewards, or you get rewards. One of them's like getting the people on the podcast to drink and toast to your name. One of them's like a signed postcard from the Happy Jocks crew. One of them, if you save up for a little while, you can get a custom title of your choice on the forum. So you can like pick what you want your title to be on the forum.
Fancy.
Yeah, it's very, very fancy. So maybe like one of the super high ones will be Kimmy and Sam finding the swords. For like if you watch for like a year and a half and never spend any beers. That will be... There's no mojitos, Floyd. I'm sorry. There's no mojitos. Beers.
Just pretend the beer is a mojito. It's a digital beer.
No whiskeys either. Sorry, Weasel. No. Just beers. I had to pick a thing, and beers seemed the most apropos. How do we use those beers you acquire? If you hit !info, it will in fact inform you of that.
Daiquiris.
No daiquiris. Oh my god, now you guys...
Shots.
No shots.
No, it's just beer.
Just
beer
beers.
only.
I had to name them, and beers was much, but not Lambic. It's in the beer family, and it's better than normal beer. I definitely agree with you there. But
yes, that's true. Actually, you don't look much like beer.
I don't like beer. I don't drink beer ever. I'm like the shame of the Happy Jacks crew. I'm like,
well, you don't have to like beer. There's cider. There's drink wine.
Yes, wine. I've learned to do that. So
info.
Yeah, and it tells them how the beers work.
Oh, okay.
That's why the bots are cool. They have like these things.
Oh,
so.
Good job, robot.
No IPA.
No
you can't
IPA,
be that specific.
gross.
It's all beers in general.
Ew,
no
Budweiser, no.
All right, I feel like we might be getting off topic. I think we might be wrapping up. Oh, the chat room was reminding me that I was supposed to go back to the Happy Jacks RPG if you took over the podcast question.
Oh, yes. Let's see.
Just one thing.
One thing. Oh, I know what it would be.
Okay.
It would not be freezing cold in the freaking podcast room. It's like 2 degrees in there.
It's so cold in there.
So cold. I have to wear Fenris like a cape.
Yes.
That is the one thing I would change. It would be like 75 degrees in there.
Yes.
It'd be great.
Oh my god, that would be the best. I always feel like we're in like these like burkas and I'm like wrapped to like my giant like parka. I meant parka, not burka. But parka, and I'm like freezing and I'm trying to type and I'm cold and I'm always like, oh, I have a cute outfit on so people can see me on the stream, except I have like 4 jackets on top of it too.
Yeah, it was like the last time we were on the like regular podcast, and I looked over at you and I realized we were both going like this.
We were hunched
and then I
up.
looked at Stu and I was like, we're meat popsicles. Turn the heat up.
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do wear layers.
I brought fingerless gloves.
Yes. Granted, I don't have any temperature control in my studio out here, so it's what it is.
This is
yeah.
You can't do anything about here, but Stu's house. It's got a button. You know exactly what that temperature is.
Yeah. No, and it's like 52 or something.
Yeah.
It's not really.
Who keeps their house at 52?
I don't know.
Tim needs leggings when he wears his tutu.
His tutu, yes.
Yes.
Eventually.
He will need tights.
Yeah, well,
definitely.
Unfortunately, I'm trying to school Tim on the ways of social media. But when he posted that originally, he did a lot of things wrong. So we have no way now of tracking how many times it's been shared. Because some people were like retweeting it, some people were like quote retweeting it, some people were just like copying and pasting it, and like it was just like, oh, okay, so it's way off now.
Now we just have to estimate.
Yeah.
But upside of just saying that it got tweeted enough times is he has to wear a tutu.
Yes. So we have to find a way to follow that through. I think he really was really excited about the tutu though. So
yeah, I think secretly he wants to wear the tutu.
Yeah. Oh, not secretly. Like he's very excited about the tutu. They did like a big Amazon search. Because they were asking Sam and I to like make it for them, and we were like,
I was like, no. It took me 9 months to make my tutu.
Yeah.
Granted, that was because it has 1,400 Swarovski crystals on it.
Right. And it's actually like a real tutu, not just like tulle in a circle.
Yeah, that's not a tutu.
No.
Don't even get me started.
That's gonna be his tutu though.
He can have the Etsy version of tutu.
Yeah.
Which is like, my mom sewed me this thing and it's just got lots of tulle on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a tutu.
You're excited about the tutus.
Everyone's excited about the tutus. Yay.
Yeah, we'll just say we're enough. I'll just like text him on Saturday. Guess what? I was searching through social media and you got this, and he won't know the difference. It'll be fine.
No.
Unless he watches this and then we're screwed. But
yeah. Shh, don't tell him.
He's not gonna watch this. It'll be fine. Especially with all the sound problems in the sink. He's gonna be like,
he's gonna give up like halfway through.
Yeah, he's not dedicated like you guys in the chat room. You guys are amazing. So awesome. Okay, I think we might be done. It is 9:30. Just bully him into it. He can wear it as a collar and look like a dandelion. He could.
It can be like an Elizabethan ruff.
There we go. Oh, that'd be amazing to have a picture of like Scully with a ruff.
And powder him so he looks like Scully color.
Amazing.
Yeah. Great.
All right. So thank you guys for watching. You've been incredibly patient. We really, really appreciate it. We're gonna try and figure out what the hell is wrong with the sound. Yeah, so you guys really are amazing and you totally deserve a tutu on Tam.
Scully needs the ruff, yes.
Yes. Maybe we'll do both. We'll have the tutu and the ruff simultaneously.
Ooh, a neck tutu and a waist tutu.
You have a drawing assignment.
Somebody draw that, please.
So, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Our next broadcast will be tomorrow night at 8 p.m. actually for the normal Happy Jacks RPG podcast. We will be, I don't think we're playing any games this weekend, but we're playing our Edge of the Empire, our last episode of Edge of the Empire next Tuesday night at 7:45-ish. And, ish. And then,
we'll try real hard.
And then that Friday night we'll be doing our podcast again. And then on December 11th, we are playing Vampire again.
Yes, 11th.
So check it out. Follow, look on our stream for our schedule. That, unlike the sound, fucking works. And love you guys. And I will talk to you guys.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah. Bye.